All right, Coach. We were happy to see, North Henderson and Baseball U prospect Nate Toney choose camp baseball. So let's jump right into the recruiting because I know what it looked like from Nate's side a little bit. But for you, without giving away too many of your secrets, how do you recruit and what do you look for in a
Yeah.
recruit beyond that baseball ability?
So for me, I try and be as real and upfront and honest throughout the recruiting process as I possibly can be. It does me no good to spit out a bunch of coach speak and this and that and make promises I can't fulfill. I want to be honest and open with our recruits. I want to tell them where we think they are, where we think we can help them get to, and I want to build a relationship. I'm big into relationship. I care about every one of the kids that currently plays in this program. I care about all the recruits that we bring in and that we spend time with and them and their families. And so it's really important to me that they just get to see the real side of me. In that, between explaining the relationship side and explaining the expectations of the program, I want them to walk away and have all of the information possible. So when they sit down as a family and talk about, what they want to do and making that decision, that they're making the best decision for them, whether that's coming to my place or not. I want them to have all the information possible about Camp Community College so that way they can decide if we're the best fit. Because at the end of the day, that's important to me. I care about these guys' futures. Would I love for every kid that I sit across the table with in our conference room to commit to us? Absolutely. That'd be great. But I know that's not realistic. So at the end of the day, it's about making sure that they know who I am, they know who our assistant coaches are, and they know what we're going to do to try and benefit their future, and that they know that regardless of what happens, that they know they've got somebody who's going to take care of them, be there for them, and care about them on a daily basis. And does that mean we're always going to get along, sing kumbaya, hold hands, all that good stuff? No. I tell every recruit, there's going to be days where they may not like. There may be days where I don't like them. That's just a player-coach relationship. I compare it a lot to a marriage. There's days where I can promise you my wife doesn't like me, all right, because I made her mad. I didn't take the trash out, whatever the case may be. But I never have to worry about my wife not loving or respecting me. And so that's what we try and build, that kind of trust with our players and with our recruits in this program. And we just try and be real with them because at the end of the day, we don't want it to be a Houdini act where they show up here and all of a sudden I'm a completely different person day one of practice than the guy they sat down with and recruited them, because I don't take the responsibility lightly of asking a mom and a dad or a grandma and a grandpa or whoever and a athlete to trust me to take care of them if I'm not going to follow through and do that. And so, also it's the first real adult decision these kids have to make. And so I don't take that lightly, that those things are all a part of this and that I need to give them the truth. I need to give them honesty. At the end of the day, they can make the best decision possible. And so that's just what's really important. I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I love the recruiting side of it because I get to show people who I am. And I get to show people what our program's about and what our coaching staff's about and the people that I surround myself with that I believe in every single day. And so it's just that's just something that I get really excited about. And, the baseball ability is great. We obviously want guys who can play the game. There's no question. But we want good people. We want guys who are going to make good decisions on a consistent basis. Do I expect every player in our program to be perfect and never make a mistake? No, that's not realistic. I'm not perfect, okay? I know I'm not. But I want guys who on a consistent basis are going to make good decisions and that are going to be want to be held accountable. They're going to hold each other accountable, and they're going to take responsibility when they screw up, because that's how we're going to get better. That's how the individual is going to get better. And so when it comes to recruiting, we just sit down, put all those things out on the table, and make sure at the end of the day they get all their questions answered so they know what to expect and they know what it means to be, a hurricane.
All right, next question, Coach. You started talking a little bit about what practice looks like, some of the technology that you guys use. But, one thing in particular that Nate had mentioned and was really excited about was some of the again, I don't know if I want to call it biomechanical, but a lot of the camera, just the analysis of the throwing or physical motions of players. And I'm very interested in that, but I was going to see if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
So I'm going to say this with a caveat of my pitching coach is a lot more in tune to how this all works than I am. So I'm going to give the layman's version of it as best I can. I'm working on learning it, but my pitching coach is a whole lot smarter with this stuff than I am. So you got to give credit's due. But we are currently working with a company called ProPlay AI, and they're a biomechanics company. And basically what they have been able to do is come up with taking film and then giving biomechanical feedback on the deficiencies and positive things a pitcher does throughout his motion, and us being able to make a pitcher as efficient as they possibly can be throughout their delivery, and us figuring out what stressors he's putting in certain points and what he's doing that we may need to make adjustments to, or what looks great and what we can enhance. And we are currently the only college in the entire country that has a sponsorship deal with ProPlay AI, and I'm very proud to say that. If you go on their website right now, you'll see the Toronto Blue Jays logo, you'll see some other organizational logos, and you're going to see Camp Community College's logo on there. And I give our pitching coach, Peyton Trawick, a lot of credit with that, as well as a former assistant of mine, Danny Samet. Those guys have they brought a lot of people with connections on that side of it. But ProPlay AI has been huge for us, and we're really seeing some serious gains because of the minor mechanical adjustments we've been able to make. One thing we pride ourselves on is if we look at a baseball player that we're recruiting and we say, okay, we have to change everything he does to get him where we want him to be. Guess what? I don't want to recruit him. We want to make small mechanical adjustments and tweaks here and there to make that student athlete as good as he possibly can be. And so that's what we look for. And the ProPlay AI, that application really helps us accomplish that. And so we're excited about that. New this year, we've also added driveline tracks, which, again, for a small community college in rural Virginia, to have driveline tracks is a very unique thing. But we were able to work out a deal with those guys, and very pleased to have that offered to our student athletes. And driveline tracks is kind of an all-encompassing tracking program that allows us, we've barely touched the tip of the iceberg with what that program can really do with our guys, and we're adding new stuff each week. But we can track our weightlifting program, we can track health and wellness, we can track metrics and progression and regression, and we're able to do so much with that really gives our guys legitimate feedback to what they're doing and how they're doing it, so they know what kind of track they're on a daily basis and a weekly basis of getting better, which at our level, at the junior college level, is paramount. We also use Diamond Kinetics, the Diamond Kinetics ball, which provides a lot of feedback. They've done some awesome things with their product. And we're in the process of raising money to potentially go out and get a Rapsodo, which I think is a great tool, and something that, I'm hoping that we'll be able to put into play in the next year, if not before. Because we, again, want to provide our guys with the best tools, best resources to get better. We've also added a brand new hack attack machine. We've added the core velocity belt. We've added a lot of things that are just help our guys to the next level and develop at a stronger and faster pace.
So you were mentioning your pitching coach before, and that's a good transition. Go ahead and introduce all your coaches and your staff, and just give a little bit of background on them, and maybe delve into some baseball philosophies that you all share.
Yeah. So I've got to start with the guy who's been beside me since almost day one got the job, and that's our associate head coach and hitting coach, Nick Love. Coach Love is extremely passionate, extremely knowledgeable, and extremely energetic when it comes to helping our guys not just become better baseball players, but develop as people. And I love what he brings to the yard every single day. And I've gotten to see him grow over the last year and a half. I've given him a ton of responsibility. I put a lot on his shoulders because he does such a great job. And I want him. Hopefully I can keep him around here for a long time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to as good a job as he's been doing. But Coach Love is from Virginia, originally from Bedford, Virginia. He played junior college baseball, which I think is a great great thing to have on your staff when it comes to recruiting junior college players, is to have somebody who's experienced, who's lived it. And he's done that. And he went on and played at Eastern Mennonite University, and then became a grad assistant there, and then an assistant coach, and then jumped on the opportunity to come here and be my recruiting coordinator. And I had gotten to see Nick work for the past few years, seeing him on the road, seeing him grind it out a little bit, and I just thought it would be a great fit. And one thing that I think he and I both do is we support one another, but we're on to say, hey, I think we could do this better or that better. And we're always trying to come up with ways to make this program better and bounce ideas off of each other. And so I'm very thankful and very fortunate to have Nick on staff. And next is Peyton Trawick, our pitching coach. Coach Trawick is young and energetic, and talk about knowledgeable. He's young, man, but I wish I knew half of what he does when I was his age, man. He absolutely studies the game. He wants to enhance our guys on so many different levels, and he's great at what he does. I mean, I didn't know really when I hired him how much of the pitching stuff I wanted to turn over to him. And within the first week and a half, hey, man, go run with it, because I knew I could trust him. It was funny when Peyton first applied for the pitching coach job here over the summer, the beginning of the summer. I called him basically to set up an interview, and we talked for a while, and I got off the phone and I wanted to hire him right then and there. Like I wasn't even worried about an interview. And I called Coach Love and I said, Nick, I need you to call this kid, talk to him, figure out if I'm just going crazy or if we just need to hire him. The Coach Love called me back, said, you're not going crazy, Coach. We need to get this kid. And Coach Trawick, he pitched, I believe, in an NAIA school in Missouri, got hurt, ended up transferring to Central Arkansas, Division I, and became a student assistant there, working alongside their pitching coach. And then was actually hired as a paid intern with the Tampa Bay Rays in their player development department, and would have spent the entire year with them. Don't quote me on this, but I believe he was going to go to AAA and work with their player development guys there. But because of COVID and everything that happened, ended up being let go because of the minor league season not happening. And, their loss was our gain, because he has been phenomenal and has just done an amazing job transforming our pitching program into something very, very special. And so I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have both of them. The one thing that out of the many things that I've taken away from my college head coach, it was, you need to surround yourself with good people, people that you can trust and people that you can let work and do their jobs. And I've got two guys around me right now that I don't have to look over their shoulders. I don't have to micromanage. I know that they're going to get it done and get it done at a high level, and I appreciate them for it and can't wait to see. I mean, I know that both of them aren't going to be here forever. I'm hoping to keep them here for a while, but you know, the fact of the matter is I can't wait to see what the future has in store for both those guys, because they're special.
So you were talking about, you know, what you look for in a recruit, but one question I do like to ask every coach is, how, and every answer seems to be different here, but how do you approach a player that physically you want to recruit, maybe even academically, but you're seeing character issues? Like, how do you approach that as a coach, as for recruits?
You know, character issues are tough. Talent does not outweigh character by any means. I want good kids in this program. I want good people who, regardless of baseball, are going to be excellent members of society. You know, I care a whole lot more about the phone calls I get from former student athletes saying, "Hey, coach, I'm getting ready to propose to my girlfriend," or, "Hey, coach, you know, my wife's pregnant," or whatever the case may be. And here's a great story. And I took this from a couple months back, but Skip Bertman, the former head coach at LSU, won a ton of baseball, probably one of the greatest college baseball coaches of all time. Back in 1996, about a week or so before the season started, he was doing a press conference, and one of the reporters said, "You know, hey, coach, what kind of team you think you're going to have this year?" And he stood there and thought about it for a minute, and he responded, "You know, I'd rather answer that question in another 8 to 10 years when I know what kind of fathers, what kind of husbands, what kind of employees or employers these guys become. That's when I'll know what kind of team I had." And that really hit me. That hit me like a ton of bricks, because I feel the same way. And so character's huge. I want guys who are going to make a positive impact in life outside of baseball. And so we care about character. We make phone calls to multiple people and find out what kind of kid, you know, each of these guys are, because we believe in positive culture in our program. And we talk about leadership. We talk about accountability and responsibility and attitude and approach. And so, you know, we want guys who are going to uphold to those standards. And if they're not, I don't care if they're a top 5 round draft pick. I may not be willing to bring them into this program if I feel like they're not going to stand up to the standards that we ask our players to do on a daily basis. You know, I've never cut a guy based on ability. And nor will I ever cut a guy based on ability. If a player is willing to come in, do what we ask of him, doesn't mean he's ever going to play, but I'm not cutting him based on ability. A lot of guys have cut themselves based on character and attitude, though, and that's the one area that we will not take winning over character and how we run this program.
All right, Coach, put yourself in a good baseball player, a good high school baseball player's shoes for a second. You know, obviously these guys starting at a young age, they don't wake up in the morning. You know, they wake up in the morning thinking like, I want to go to Clemson. I want to go to NC State. No one's really waking up as a 6th grader saying like, can't wait to go to camp. And I don't say that, you know where I'm coming from.
No. What?
But
you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I usually actually say that when kids come on campus. I'm like, you know, guys, I get it. No, nobody went to bed dreaming about playing at Paul D. Camp Community College.
But that's the second half of the question is like, why should they? You know, now we're older. Now we're 15, 16, 17. Why would somebody who might be stuck in, you know, typical player is pretty solid being stuck in that D1 spectrum? Like, why should a good baseball player, even one with Division I ability, consider camp?
So for the same reason, you know, when I talk about that, when I tell guys, hey, I get it, you didn't go to sleep dreaming about playing at camp, the goal of you coming here is so you can still keep dreaming about playing at that place that you really wanted to play at one day. And we're going to try and provide you all the tools, all the resources, and the guidance to make that happen. Now, at the end of the day, it's still up to the student athlete, how hard they work and the effort they put in, and if they physically are good enough to do it. But if they are, we're going to do everything on our end and our power and use our contacts and the people we know to make what they want happen in reality. And so I think that, you know, I talk to guys all the time, and I played Division III baseball. I know a lot of guys who coach at high level Division II programs, and you know, and I'm not stuck on, oh, I got to send every kid one to blow my ego up. That's not how I function. But if there's guys that are like, hey, coach, I've got this offer, and this offer, but they don't feel like the right fit. You know, I really want to go here, go there. Then in my mind, going JUCO, coming to Camp Community College, those schools are still going to want you in a year or two as long as you haven't gotten any worse. And so it's about let's trying to figure out what doors, what things we can open up and opportunities we can provide you that you're not getting right now. And then at the end of the day, if you look back and say, you know what, this opportunity I had 2 years ago, you know, they still want me now. Maybe it was the right fit. You know, I've grown up a little bit. I think that could be a good option for me. Or now they've got more options and opportunities, and it's, hey, coach, you know, that was the fit I was looking for. That was the school that I felt like I could excel at academically and socially and athletically. And now they want me. Cool. Let's make that happen. So that's what I think. I think when guys want to develop, when they want to enhance their deficiencies, they'd be coming to a place that's going to help them do that and help them secure more opportunities maybe than what they're looking at today. And especially with the landscape of COVID-19 and where the recruiting process is right now.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the last question I wrote down here for you is, you know, from talking to, you know, multiple coaches at multiple levels, like it's getting hectic, and some coaches are in a better place than others with their program. But, you know, I guess first, like, let's talk about how the new eligibility rules are affecting NJCAA as a whole, but then, you know, get into your program. What are you trying to do to make sure that you're making the best decisions for your players and your recruits with these potentially 2 years of eligibility that have been added on?
Yeah. So guys getting their year back, in my mind, yeah, it sounds great. And it is great because it's going to afford them the opportunity to have an extra year at a 4-year school. For me, I want what's best for our players. To me, trying to keep every one of our kids here for an extra year just to keep them here for an extra year so maybe we can create more continuity and win more baseball games, that's not a good reason. I want our guys to pursue the right opportunities, and if that means they're going to graduate from here with their degree and be prepared to move on to a 4-year program, then that's what we're going to ask them to do. And so I've already started having meetings. We're meeting with every single one of our potential transfer guys and talking about where they're at, where their grades are at, where their credits are, and like to go one day and figure out what's the best process. I mean, my goal is to get as many of our COVID freshmen out the door after this year as possible. And guess what? They're going to have 4 years of eligibility left, you know, when they leave here. That's awesome. I shouldn't just be selfish and try and keep those guys here just because I want to try and win a couple extra baseball games, or I don't want to have to recruit as many student athletes for next year and not have to spend as much time on the road recruiting. It's got to be about the student athlete. You know, it's about, my goal is to be, and I take this, you know, from Coach Deggs down in Louisiana, but I want to be a transformational coach, not a transactional coach. And if I'm in this just to win baseball games, and if I'm in this just to make my life easier, I'm being a transactional coach. If I'm looking out for the best interest of my student athletes and their future and what they need out of the process and what's going to help them with their degree and their lives, then I'm more of a transformational coach. And at the end of the day, I can go to bed and sleep a whole lot better knowing that than if I was just worried about myself.
All right, so I lied. Here's the last question. For any potential recruits, I think it's a little trivial, but who is Paul D. Camp?
So the Camp family started a paper mill in town. They were basically lumberjacks that created a paper mill in town. That's what the town's been known for. Paul D. Camp was a member of the Camp family who felt like that education was really important. And so back in 1970, he pursued the opportunity to start a community college in town and wanted to support it with the Camp Community College Foundation, which the foundation does a lot to help support the school outside of the state funding we receive. And so that's how Paul D. Camp Community College came about, was Mr. Camp and his desire to see a college education being offered in this part of the state.
All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate you being on. I think you gave these prospects a ton of great information to consider, not only about your program, but just the recruiting process in general. And are there any final, words or messages or information you want to provide to these kids before we sign off?
Guys, I'd love for every student athlete that we're interested in to come to Paul D. Camp Community College and play baseball, but I do really want to push the message of finding the right fit for you, getting the best opportunity that's going to allow you to grow and develop, not just as a baseball player, but as a person. And I really appreciate the opportunity to have been on here with Ryan today and to share the message of what Hurricane baseball is about. And I look forward to hopefully getting a chance to talk to some of you guys and hear from some of you guys and visit our campus and sit down with me and our staff and see what it's all about in person. But appreciate your time, and go Hurricanes.